Telescopes have shown us a universe larger than we could ever imagine, filled with possibilities for exotic alien life. Yet even as we wonder at the stars, the microscope is revealing hidden worlds, smaller than the naked eye can see, swarming with strange and beautiful forms of life. These microscopic organisms are found in water all over the world, in oceans, lakes and rivers, in damp soils, or even puddles that form after rain. Microscopic plant life can swim, crawl and wriggle about, just as quickly and easily as animals, so it's often difficult to tell which is which. The amoeba is a predator that feeds on anything that crosses its path. It is one of the simplest animals on Earth. Its whole body is a single cell. Enclosed within a cell membrane, the interior of the cell is filled with cytoplasm, a thick, living jelly crammed with a variety of transparent objects. The most important of these is the nucleus. The nucleus is filled with long lists of instructions written on DNA that tell the cell how to perform all the chemical and physical activities necessary for life. This is Chlamydomonas, a simple, single-celled plant. Chlamydomonas vigorously swims about, doing breaststroke with two hair-like flagella. Flagella are common on both animal and plant cells. This microscopic animal is covered by many hundreds of short flagella, which biologists refer to as cilia. Surrounding most plant cells is a tough external cell wall that protects and constrains the shape of the cell. Inside the wall, the plant cell is similar to the animal, with a cell membrane and nucleus. The most conspicuous feature of a plant is its colour, which is due to a structure found inside the cell called the chloroplast. The chloroplast is a solar-powered factory. It captures energy from sunlight and uses it to make food and oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. Countless times during the history of life on Earth, single-celled organisms did something that radically changed the design of living things. They stuck together. This is a plant called gonium. This organism consists of 4 cells. Each cell has a single chloroplast and 2 flagella, much like that found in Chlamydomonas. However, unlike a collection of solitary Chlamydomonas, the cells work together, coordinating their swimming to determine where the organism will go. On the left is the eye of a needle. The green spheres are volvox, another species of plant. There are 2 types of cell in a volvox colony. The first resembles Chlamydomonas, with 2 beating flagella rolling the organism through its watery environment. The second is a reproductive variety, whose sole job is to become the next generation of volvox. What did this multi-celled lifestyle lead to? It led to every living thing we see around us. The cell is the fundamental building block of all living things. Every living thing is composed of cells.
The surface of the leaf is rough. It looks like a cobblestone road and it's kind of glistening. Now each little bump, each little cobblestone is a single cell. And collectively all these cells in this nice pattern form the protective skin of the blade of grass.
This is Jeremy Pickett-Heaps. A professor of botany at the University of Melbourne, Jeremy has been observing and filming living cells for more than 30 years.
The importance of the cell lies in the fact that it's the only thing that we know of that supports life. And every living thing we know of, at least on the planet Earth, is either a cell or is formed from cells. Some forms of life are very simple and they're just single cells, just single little units, and they are definitely living. They do all the things we expect of a living organism. They move around, they divide, they undergo sexual reproduction and so on. The larger living organisms we're familiar with are composed of millions, billions of these cells, but you cannot have life without cells.
In your body, there are over 200 distinct types of cell. For example, smooth muscle cells in the intestine squeezing food through the gut. Bone cells manufacturing proteins that give the skeleton its strength. Nerve cells in the brain, sending signals into the electric network of the body.
All of those individual cells not only have to fit together in an organized way, they have to integrate their activity. And unless the cells communicate with each other, synchronize their functions, the whole system breaks down. And so a living organism like us is dependent upon the functioning of all the cells in the body in a very specially organized and integrated way. Cells comprise our whole being. Everything we are, everything we do, whether it's playing the piano or skydiving or anything else, comes about because of the way that our cells are and the way that they interact and the way that they give messages to each other.
Our bodies are a living community of cells, each cell with its own identity and job to perform. This is a tiny piece of tissue from a lung made of a few hundred cells. But in the right conditions, the cells that once worked together to form a lung creep away like solitary amoeba and begin to explore their new habitat. A cell produces more cells by dividing in two, creating identical copies of itself. The process of cell division is more mysterious than it sounds. A complex sequence of events must occur, including replication of DNA, before the cell splits down the middle. The two resulting cells are clones of the parental cell.
Your well-being is absolutely dependent upon very large numbers of cells dividing. And when I watch an amoeba or an alga divide, the very same events taking place in that alga are happening inside your body and my body millions of times every minute. We have millions of cells dividing, and they're doing it the same way that basically that the amoeba does.
There are trillions of cells in your body, and every single one came from the same cell. This is a developing embryo. The genetic program written in the DNA is telling this embryo how to become a tadpole and later how to grow into a frog.
we're filming an egg turn into a tadpole, which to me is a mind-blowing experience. You watch how the cells divide and divide and divide, and then they go through this phase of talking to each other, reorganization, and out comes a tadpole. To me, it's one of the absolute profound and joyful mysteries of biology, is that awesome event where you see a living organism take shape in front of your eyes. That phenomenon is the product of cells speaking to each other, cells interacting, dividing, cooperating. At a lot of levels of both large-scale biology and small-scale biology, the events, the drama is played out at the level of the cell itself.
Multi-celled organisms, like you or me, sexually reproduce, mixing our DNA so that our offspring have a blend of characteristics from both parents. Cells specially designed for the purpose of combining DNA are used. The egg cell, with half the normal amount of DNA, bloated with nutrients essential to a developing embryo. And the sperm cell, an egg-seeking missile, armed with the other half of DNA. Without the option of specialised reproductive cells, single-celled organisms have to resort to more drastic, self-sacrificing methods to have sex. The climax of their encounter is the merging of the two cells into one, combining their DNA. They eventually divide into new offspring, each with a unique mixture of DNA from both parents.
As the years have gone by and as more and more biologists have studied cells, we find them to be almost unimaginably complex. Their biochemistry is complex beyond belief. Their structure is incredibly dynamic. When you watch living cells, you see things going on at a great rate inside them, and it's very difficult for human beings at this stage to comprehend the level of complexity. And that is the complexity that you need, as far as we know. That's the complexity you need to generate this phenomenon we call life. A single cell may have within it more of the attributes of life than we would currently attribute to it. We certainly attribute to it biochemistry, genetics, and all of those wonderful things, but I can't help wondering whether there isn't more to the story than that even cells themselves are imbued with some level of organization. I hesitate to use the word consciousness, but some level of being that we don't fully appreciate. And it wouldn't be the first time that mankind's got in this situation. We used to believe we were the center of the universe, and we found out that we were a very insignificant part of the universe. And I wonder whether that would come true in the world of biology.